Our students are the future. How we advance innovation and impact and approach equity in their classrooms will determine how we thrive as a world community. The status quo just won't cut it. That's why we're here to break the grade. Hello, breakers and difference makers. I'm Josh Chernikoff, host of How I Broke That. I'm a two-time entrepreneur in the education space, and I've successfully exited both of those companies. I've experienced my fair share of breaks in my life, and I'm here to bring my signature approach to my new show, Breaking the Grade. I'm embarking on this special journey alongside my good friend and mentor, John Gamba, Director of Innovative Programs and Entrepreneur in Residence at Penn GSE. In our podcast, you'll hear from emerging business owners in the education space who are working to transform education as we know it. Tune in as we hear about industry trends, unique principles and practices, and the attempts that have and haven't worked for our grade-breaking guests. So fellow entrepreneurs and educators, what do you think? Are you ready to take a hammer to the education space and break the grade? Welcome to Breaking the Grade. Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Grade. We have Dr. Tamara Minott here, and we have an interesting story that I like to call her Dr. T is going to tell, because she, yes, is a member of our community, is a friend, is a colleague, went through the EdSales Elevation Experience, and now she's sitting in her own office. So Dr. T is going to tell us about her journey. It's a very interesting one. So first off, Dr. T, welcome, and tell us where you are right now, please.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I am calling in from Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York, where I am the new Director of College and Career Readiness at Coney Island Prep High School.
So I have to admit, well, first of all, Mazel Tov, awesome.
Thanks.
I have to admit, when you announced this on LinkedIn, I did a double take, because the last time we spoke, we were having these wonderful conversations about your business. And so let's not take away from the job you have now, but can you also talk about your business, which still exists, please?
Yes, absolutely. I'm also the CEO of Clarified LLC. That's spelled Clarify Ed. And our mission is to clarify the education process for all families in the United States. Right now, our focus is on higher education because that's where my expertise lies. But eventually, over time, the plan is to be the one-stop shop for all families in America, K through post-secondary, to get information about not only how they can enroll their child into school specific to the district that they're in, but also what the research says about best practices around getting students to and through college.
Gotcha. So can you tell us the connection between your business and now your JOB, please?
Absolutely. So Clarified was founded under the premise, as I mentioned, of wanting to clarify the education process for families. And my expertise lies in college applications, college admissions. So that's where I planned on starting. Not only have I worked in admissions for, selective universities in the past, my master's degree is in education policy, and my doctorate degree is in higher education. This is what I know, this is what I live and breathe. And so Clarified to start was really going to focus on the college application process and being able to make that process more accessible to more groups of families. And so that ties in directly with what I'm doing now, because I'm doing the exact same thing but for a specific community. And what's really beautiful about this is that this is the community I grew up in. So I actually went to high school in Coney Island myself,
Nice.
right down the road, graduated. And it feels like a very much like a full circle moment to be back in Coney Island, helping the next generation apply to college.
That's awesome. It is. That is a beautiful thing. So let's talk about another beautiful thing, your business. Okay.
Yep.
And I would love to learn from you kind of what were the challenges you were facing before you joined the EdSales Elevation Experience because you've always had this fire, you've had this passion, you've got this, wonderful degree here that says you're a doctor. And so you really wanted to get out there and do this, and you thought it was through a business. And it may very well be at some point, but right now you've got the job. But talk about how you started the business and what were the challenges you were facing.
I am a dreamer and not an executioner. I guess it's good that I'm not an executioner when you think about the word, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I dream big, I have big ideas, I can plan anything for days. When it comes to putting the pedal to the metal, and to the road and get things going, I tend to hesitate. All of it is imposter syndrome, to be honest with you. I get into my head, I overthink everything, I second guess my ability to make decisions. And doing the EdSales Elevation course kind of forced me to realize that I am an expert and I shouldn't be second guessing myself as much. The signature solution piece of it was profound in my ability to reassure myself that I do know what I'm talking about. And I think that made the difference.
Yeah. I think I'm going to say something that I've never said on this show before is that you're such a fucking expert. Like, there were so many times I would sit back and listen to you when we were in our cohort and you would talk about your business or somebody else's business because you're also such a great listener. So I can appreciate, yes, because I saw how you grew and pushed that imposter syndrome aside. What were your goals when you started the EdSales Elevation Experience? What were you hoping to experience yourself over the 12 weeks?
My goal was to get very clear on who my ideal customer was. So prior to doing EdSales Elevation, I assumed that me and Clarified and Dr. Tamara Minott and Clarified, I just had a really hard time distinguishing the two and being able to say what is me, the expert, and the individual and my personal beliefs versus what is the company's services and product offerings and everything like that. And so I was very anxious to get that all sorted out. And what comes along with that is your ideal customer. And so that was the main thing I was trying to make sure I got together. Who was I helping and how was I helping them, basically? The different modules of the EdSales Elevation course really assisted me with that because it just flat out forced me to do the exercise of really thinking about who it is I'm trying to help. And not only from one perspective. So I was going into this thinking, well, I need to be marketing to families. Parents are going to hire me to help their students or their child get into college and apply to the right college. Working with EdSales Elevation, one of the first things was like, actually, no, like zoom out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And instead of thinking about B2C, think a little bit about what the B2B could look like. And I had never considered that before. And as soon as it popped into my head, I was like, oh, obviously, duh, that's the thing to do. I can help so many more people if I try to help districts and schools and, larger entities than just trying to get to each family one at a time and working with them one-on-one. So that was my main goal, was to figure out who my ideal customer was. And I think I have offerings and I can help a spectrum of people, but being able to zoom out and realize that individual schools and or districts and or just larger educational bodies where they're helping hundreds, if not thousands of students at scale is really where my sweet spot is.
Oh, I still believe in that business model for you. And I can remember you and I were having a meeting outside of our cohort. And I remember when the light bulb went off for you for that business model. And
I don't remember that, but if you remember,
I remember that moment then. Because it was basically like we're having this conversation. You're like, you're right. I got to go. And you're like, I got to go do my thing. I'm going into my, I got to go into my magic lab here and cook this thing up. Next thing I know, you're, and you can explain this later, you're making Game of Thrones videos, that you're tossing out to everybody about your business. And we'll get to that later. But let me ask, were there any other previous attempts to overcome the imposter syndrome and to start this business?
I filed my LLC in 2019. I did this class in 2024. So you tell me.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of starts and stops every single summer. I would say to myself, I got to get to it. Application season's coming up. It's time to do it this time. And something would always come in the way, or I would be distracted, or something along those lines. And I think something about having the regular check ins every week, having a cohort of people who I know are going through the exact same tasks that I'm going through and just trying to figure it out. It was really eye opening to see so many other experts also completely confused.
Yeah. That's so
Like
funny.
that was more valuable than I think I realized.
That is it. Like we could literally end this interview at this point. To quote so many experts who are also confused. I love that, and it's totally true.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this: in terms
Yeah.
of the implementation process, of what we were learning, talk to me about that. I have some imposter syndrome sometimes
Hmm.
because I don't have the doctor in front of my name. And I know you're a heck of a researcher and everything that you degree after degree after degree. So
I'm
talk.
done with degrees, by the way. No more.
Okay, good. I mean, tell that to your parents. I'm not paying for them. But talk about like, the implementation process that you went through in terms of learning this stuff and then putting it to good use. What was that like?
I think that it's a little bit more abstract than I think I realized now that you asked me and I'm thinking about it. Because going through the cohort, we start with our digital footprint, making sure that the public can understand exactly what it is that we are offering them and what problem we're trying to solve. Once we did that and we were like, okay, how are we actually going to solve this problem? What's your philosophy? What's your mission statement? Like what is the method that you use to get people from point A to point B, or point A 13 times to point B 13 times,
Mm-hmm.
right? 13 transitions.
Mm-hmm.
um, Once you have that in place, you have almost everything you need, I think, at that point in time to really be able to talk about what you do, who you are, and what you do without even thinking about it, because you've been running it through your head so much. I went through so many iterations of that signature solution. I don't know if you remember. I went from my signature solution being catered towards students, and then me realizing, oh, no, 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 that's the journey I want the students to go through. What is the journey that I want the instructors of the students to go through, which is who I would be, servicing in order to have the impact at scale, and all of those iterations. I think it really, there's something about the process that made me realize, oh, one, I'm not alone. Two, there are people in other disciplines that I have a lot to learn from, with you marketing, with other people, other types of things. And I think that is what sparked me to start looking for mentors in other areas.
Mm.
And so I found a mentor who was a current college counselor, independent college counselor, and started talking to them about their business and any tips and tricks they wanted to give me. And the more that I spoke to these people, the more I realized, oh, I know just as much as you. What am I waiting for?
What were you waiting for?
What am I waiting for? So it's that's where it's more abstract, where like, yes, the content was invaluable. However, the practice of asking other people's questions about my baby, my business,
Mm-hmm.
letting other people comment and give their opinion on how I'm running what I hold dear to my heart, building a little bit of a thicker skin, but also being open to the fact that I don't know everything. I think that was what really pushed me over the edge. I mean, I would have never went to that ed tech summit at
Yeah.
UPenn if you
Yeah.
didn't suggest it. And there I met people and like shook hands and hugs and like all these different things that like just kept the momentum going. And so by the time of that conference, I decided to attend a summer conference for independent education consultants that was happening over the summer. And it was through that I found the posting for this job. So it all just keeps snowballing into this. And to be honest, this job was listed as a college counselor position first, and I was like, screw it, let me apply, let me get back into the seat, get some more reps under my belt, as I'm still launching my business. And then after I applied, they posted the director position, and I was like, wait, moving to the director one, like I got this. Like I had the confidence at that point to say, I can skip the regular counseling position, put me in the director seat. And they did. Here I am.
And I can tell you, I'd have to look back at the first time we talked. And I bet you I have the recording. You are
Probably.
a different person.
You think?
I know.
Probably.
You are, I mean, you honestly seem more confident. You seem happier. You look great in that director's chair. You really do, and you just seem like you're enjoying yourself. So let me ask you a question. I'm not, you know me, I'm not a glass half full guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you kind of reckon with, mesh the two, in your mind? Hey, we went through this great experience together, 12 weeks together in the EdSales Elevation Experience, and you got this wonderful little baby in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And then this wonderful other thing comes along,
Mm-hmm.
being the director and sitting in that chair. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you kind of look at the two and bring them together?
So to me, this role is just another slot on my resume that further, how do I phrase this? That makes the price go up. If that makes sense.
Good
Today's
point.
price is not yesterday's price. Let's just
Oh,
start there.
nice.
Okay.
I like that.
Um, so the fact that I'm in this position, I have so many ideas for helping these families, helping these students, making sure that they're reaching their goals and their aspirations, and anything that I'm doing with these students while I'm doing for them. Knowledge, you can't take away knowledge. It's the one thing you can't take away from someone. So even though I'm doing it for this group of people, I now have the knowledge of what works and what doesn't for when I pivot and I'm no longer, working here whenever that tends to happen. I probably won't be here forever, what have you. But I'm always going to want to work with this community. And so whatever I'm learning while working with this community is just going to raise the price for when I do it on my own.
I love it. I love it. And you can raise the price, and the confidence is where it should be.
Right. And to be honest with you, the particular school that I'm working for has a very unique value proposition for its families. I don't want to get too into it just now, but it really affords the school community to do some really cool things with regards to post-secondary access and persistence. And I plan on doing a lot of research about that. So again, it's just using the resources available to me, the funding that is available to me for this position, right? I'm not doing anything outside of, I'm not using funds from my job to do anything personal. That's not what's happening at all. But you can't take away my knowledge. And so I'm going to use any and all the opportunities I have to increase that knowledge, to make myself more of an expert, so that inevitably when my name starts getting out there and I start becoming known as, a college counselor that really knows what they're doing with a specific group of students, you can't take my brand away from me. I'm just going to pivot that back into my own personal business. So, I mean, I haven't said this publicly, and this is the first time I'm saying it. I really do see myself as being America's college counselor. I need to get over my stage fright of being on social media, but I really do see that. That's all I want to do. I just want everyone to have equal opportunity and understanding what their options are for their education and career. And so this is just one of the steps along that path.
And the first step, as we know, in the EdSales Elevation Experience, although a lot of people, I think, brush it aside. Oh, that's nothing. That's easy. It's really getting clear on that ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get clear on that ideal client and you position yourself on LinkedIn and on shows and in things you write, as the solution that people need in this niche, the yeses start to come. So it sounds like you have really drank in the Kool-Aid, so wonderful. And you are positioning yourself now and into the future as America's college counselor because you can do this for these people.
Yes. That's the plan.
Love it. I'm going to be less serious for a minute here.
Let's do it.
And you are going to have to explain to me.
I already know what you're going to ask.
Because my wife loves Game of Thrones.
Of course.
Okay?
She's a smart woman.
I made it through maybe an episode before I was confused as to how many people were killing each other. And there was this person and that person and this person and that person. You and my wife clearly love Game of Thrones. I'm going to hand it to you and you can explain to the audience what the heck you did with Game of Thrones, because I watched it and I'm not sure I got it, only because I don't get Game of Thrones.
Meaning you watched my little trailer thingy?
I watched your trailer thingy.
Yeah. So
Showed it to my wife too.
what did
She
she think?
loved it. Loved it.
She thought it was clever. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned I seem like a different person. I honestly feel like a different person. The past year of my life, I was unemployed, trying to start up the business, and I really did a lot of introspection and was just like, no, who are you, Dr. Tamara Minott, right? And I am someone who obviously is passionate about education, but I also love a good story. I love fantasy stories. And so when I was, I think I spoke to you about trying to get my digital footprint up, and I was posting blogs every week on LinkedIn and my website. And one day I just had severe writer's block. I was like, I don't want to write about any of this stuff. It's boring. It's the same thing people see all the time. I want to do something fun. House of the Dragon was on, had just started, and I was really into the show. And I was like, you know what? I've always thought that, there's a strong, not allegory. Allegory is probably not the right word. Just a strong connection with the college application process and kind of some of the major themes of what's going on in the Game of Thrones world. So I wrote a blog post that's essentially used Westeros and the characters of Game of Thrones and how they navigate going for the throne to college admissions. And so part of that was just, articulating, hey, if you are the head of your own house, applying to colleges is like looking for allies in Westeros, and everyone's just trying to find the people that can give them what they need and people who need what they can give, basically. I had a lot of fun drafting that particular blog post.
Yeah.
And then right before I hit post, I was like, it would be really cool if I could just do my own trailer for this.
Yeah.
And I found a Game of Thrones opening credits trailer that you can customize in like 10 seconds. Google is amazing.
Right.
And I customized it and I posted it. And I got a lot of positive feedback from the people, who stopped and took a look. So definitely one of the most fun times I've had writing in a very, very long time with positive results. I need to get back to it. I haven't written since that post, so I need to do some more.
Yeah, no, you're clearly having a lot more fun than the first time we met each other.
Yeah.
And we all go through those ups and downs. So I'm so happy to kind of see that you're on an up right now. So talk to us about what the future holds for you, in addition to more Game of Thrones trailers that my wife is dying for.
You don't want to run something too much into the ground, but I have a lot more college. You can look at college from the perspective of X fantasy story on the way. I have plenty of those. Harry Potter is my favorite. I have some other ones lined up as well. So I'll keep those coming.
Okay.
What's next for me? I'm really just focused on getting these babies through their college application process this fall. Unfortunately, this just happens, right? I mean, when you get someone when you get a new role, you assess the experience of the students had before you were there. Not bad, but not 100% great neither. And so right now I'm just focusing on making sure they have everything they need in order to apply for college this fall. Once we get that underway, I am also working with other companies with their students as well on the side. So I'm still doing a little bit more. I'm just not putting a lot of effort into marketing my own services for my own business. But what's next is making sure that I can document everything that I'm doing, because setting up college offices from the ground up, I think, is something that I really enjoy doing. Cool. And something that I might be offering in the future. And then once the summer comes around, getting back into shoring up my ideal customer at this point of time in my business. Right. Maybe at this point in time, I'm ready to go B2C a little bit more, or maybe I'm ready to expand going B2B and being a consultant that only works with schools and districts on how to set up their college offices for success. I can 100% see myself doing that. So the plan is to heads down, make sure I'm doing right by these families. And then once I'm sure that that's good and running smoothly, and my team under me can work without me being here, like looking over them, I just move on to the next one and do it again.
Director Dr. T.
Yeah.
You and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. We're both absolutely dreamers. I'll tell you what we do not see eye to eye on. Game of Thrones and Harry Potter.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay? Our kid loves Harry Potter.
It's fine.
So, what you should do is just come here. You guys can geek out on your nerdy wizard, dragons, hocus pocus shows. And I'll just, I'll get out and you guys hang out. But I have always believed in you and continue to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, totally. Super smart, wonderful person. Those people are so lucky to have you. And I'm so glad you landed where you did. And that business and all the work you did in the EdSales Elevation Experience will always be there. It's your knowledge. You're going to apply it this way for now and help these wonderful families. And then when the time is right, that business is only going to be better because you're going to be charging more because you're right.
It's only up from here. It's only up
from here. I love to hear it. So continue doing what you're doing. Thank you for the time here. And just super, super proud of you, Director and Dr. T.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.